Hi. I wanted to make an announcement, but I didn't know whether I'd be able to get through it, doing it live. So I'm going to try and do it like this. So hopefully you can hear me, and it's not too difficult. Next year I would like to try and raise some money for charity, and I thought it would be good to explain which charity and why. So bear with me. This is probably going to be like really unprofessional, but what else do you expect from me? So 2.5 years ago, so this was me. I was lively and happy, and I had a life. I was a teacher. I was a secondary school teacher. I used to teach history, and it was the thing that I'd wanted to do all of my life. This is going to be really hard, so I apologise now. Okay. I had walked across the country for charity. I used to do fancy dress walks to collect, to get money. I was active, and then I got sick. And the only way I can describe it is that I got like what felt like chronic sinusitis, and I never got well again. And one night I went to bed, and I didn't get out of bed apart from to drag myself to the toilet for about a month. I kind of forget exactly how long it was. It feels like the longest possible time. I spent a long time having to weigh up how exhausted it was going to make me to even get up to go to the bathroom, to have a glass of water, or to eat. And eventually I was diagnosed with myalgic encephalomyelitis, which is a fantastic name. But I wasn't. I was diagnosed with something called chronic fatigue syndrome, CFS. And the overwhelming image that you will have from that is someone who's tired, maybe a bit lazy, and asleep. And what it doesn't tell you is that it is crippling. And it's so misunderstood. There are millions of us out there with these chronic illnesses, and there's no cure, and there's no help, and there's no support. I haven't been to a doctor's about this for about 1.5 years after I was told that it was probably partly my personality that was causing my illness. And it's something that unfortunately a lot of people get, because chronic fatigue syndrome is so misunderstood. It's so desperately misunderstood. And I am lucky. I have, through the fact that I have a very supportive husband and I have self-care, I've had Twitter, I've had massive amounts of support. I have managed to regulate my health enough that though I'm exhausted, though everything is frankly shit an awful lot of time, I feel like I'm on a boat rocking. I get weird pain signals through my body. I lose sensation in my lips and in my fingers. I feel sick. I can't think. I have it's like having absent seizures. You stop talking in the middle of sentences. You forget words, you forget how to count, you just can't sort of function in a normal way anymore. And to go from someone who used to walk and run and dance and laugh and have a social life and be an active member of society, to go to no longer being able to have a job, it's incredibly hard. It's like being in prison. And it has taken till now for me to find a way that maybe I can actually contribute again and I can be useful. There are so many people who have it worse than me. I am probably one of the lucky ones. There are people who have it so badly that they actually can't. They have to live in darkness because they can't cope with light. I mean, I've been in the points where I can no longer cope with light. Smells are crazy. You basically, your senses go haywire and you can't quite figure out what's going on. But people who can't, they can't stand to be touched. They can't hear. They have to wear headphones all the time because it's just noise is too hard for them. And there are millions of us. Millions. I am so sorry. I find this so hard to talk about. So, on a happier note, I'm going to, around my health, because I know streaming for 3 hours will knock me out for 18 hours. I know this, and I can kind of cope with it if I know that I've got something good at the end of it. So, over the next year, I am going to give 20% of my monthly subscriptions to Action for ME. And there's going to be various information about the fundraising and so on down below. This is probably really unprofessional. I had all sorts of things planned to put up, but I just can't remember how to do any of them. And I'm going to do charity streams, and on those days, any kindness that you might want to show to me in bits and donations, it'll all go to charity. It'll all go to Action for ME. Because this is not the end. There's no funding for this. There's no funding to help people. But there are charities that are trying, and people shouldn't have to live with this. People shouldn't have to go from everything to nothing. And there are so many chronic illnesses out there, and so many things that hurt so many people. Please, if you don't want to support this one, find one that affects somebody who you care about and that you love. Somebody who maybe has Crohn's disease, who has fibromyalgia. There are so many of us, and we smile and we laugh and we try to pretend we're okay because it's the only way we can cope with what we deal with every single moment of every single day. So there is going to be a kind of a charity thing going on. I can't give everything to charity because this is kind of the only way that I actually earn any money anymore, because my life is crap. And so I need to pay some bills, but I'm going to give as much as I can personally. And if you want to help people who are worse than me and who can't do this, because for I have a voice and so many people don't, but I have a voice and I have people who care. So I would massively appreciate any help that you are willing to give. I've set up a fundraising page. I'm not trying to raise thousands upon thousands of pounds. But anything might help. Just might help somebody. And that means just so much, because it's a prison. And if I hadn't have had Jim and I hadn't have had you guys, I don't know where I would be right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play just a quick YouTube thing about the millions missing, and hopefully that will sort of sum up why I want to do this. I know this has been quite long and quite rambly and probably quite waffly because it's really hard to talk about. So thank you for being here and for listening and for giving me the sort of the family and the support which I haven't had for years. I'm stopping here. This is why I can't do this live. Okay? I'm going clicky. I'm going clicky, guys.
There's all kinds of other diseases which are serious, and we know that, but boy, ME/CFS is one that's been missed. Someone forgot about it a long time ago, and the shoes here are representing all those people who are missing today.
So great to see so many people coming out for a disease that's just not understood, underfunded, and from which so many people desperately suffer.
Here on behalf of my son Gordon, who is 22. He's been sick since he was 12.
For the last half century, what we've had is a persistently bad idea about what this illness is.
These are just some pictures of my son. There he is protecting his sister. And then down here at the bottom is what he looks like now. He's severely ill, and he requires constant care.
I was well, and I had so many dreams. But when you get sick like I did, you expect that there will be help. That even if there is no treatment, there will be care.
There are no FDA-approved treatments. There have been no clinical trials for medications for ME, and we have been ignored.
There we go. So, you can see that this is why I want to do something. There are so many good charities out there, and this can happen to anybody. If it happened to me, somebody who was active and lively and lived life totally to the full, and then one day your life just goes. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody, and it could happen to somebody who you know, it could happen to somebody you love, and I genuinely hope it doesn't. But this is why I want to do something, because why not? We're here, and I'm here, and I can actually do something. So that was my announcement. There will be charity because people need help, and it's a good thing to do. So thank you for putting up with me for the last 13 minutes, which is unlucky for you possibly, but thank you. And right now the cheerful stuff. Love you guys.